When I was on the train, I saw a monster with a very long arm waving at me through the thick fog. While I was wondering what it was, my dad's face suddenly changed, and he shakily said to Mom,
"He's here."
What is coming?
It's him. He's here, just staring at us intently from the mountain.
Mom seemed to remember something. Her eyes widened, and she became tense immediately.
Could it be that you saw it wrong? It's been over 10 years. How could that thing possibly find us?
I shouldn't be mistaken.
Mom heard this, and quickly leaned on the window to look outside.
You must have seen it wrong. There's nothing on the mountain.
No way. I clearly saw it.
We've moved for so many years, and that thing never showed up. How come it appeared when we went on a trip?
I hope I'm seeing it wrong.
After Dad finished speaking, he looked out the window again, but the next second his heart stopped, and his whole body froze there.
I didn't see it wrong. He really came.
Mom heard it, and glanced outside again, and this time he saw it too.
He really came. We can't escape.
Why? After more than 10 years, does he keep bothering us?
I was utterly confused by my parents' conversation, and quickly
Mom
asked,
and Dad, I saw that monster too. What exactly is it? Don't ask again. It is an unspeakable thing. We can't say its name. Otherwise, it will remember our voices, and then there'll truly be no chance at all.
I don't quite understand why my parents are so afraid. So I look out the window again, and see it getting closer to us. Because it's too dark, I can't clearly see what the monster looks like. I only know it's a humanoid creature. For some reason, a strange fear also arises within me.
Husband, we can't just sit here and wait to die.
I don't want to just wait for death either. But the mountain road ahead has collapsed, and the train has already been forced to stop. We'll have to wait until tomorrow for it to pass.
That thing is so close to us, it won't take long for it to come over.
Dad thought for a while, and suddenly grabbed Mom.
Hurry. Let's move to another car. Maybe he won't find us there.
We heard Dad quickly get up, and then rush to the next carriage. Seeing the surrounding passengers, Dad finally breathed a slight sigh of relief. Laura,
Now we can only wait. Even if that thing is powerful, it shouldn't be able to smash the train. As long as the train is running, we'll be safe. That thing can't catch up.
Mom nodded slightly without saying a word, but at that moment, a sudden scream erupted in the carriage. The once noisy carriage instantly fell silent as everyone turned to look in the direction of the sound. The scream came from a young man who was staring at his phone with tears streaming down his face. We immediately recognized him. His name is Wang Qiang, and he's from the same village as us.
Wang Qiang? What happened? How are you also on this bus?
Uncle, aunt, my parents were murdered.
What did you say? How did they die?
Wang Qiang listened as Dad raised the phone and showed us the screen. On the screen was the yard of Wang Qiang's house, where his parents lay, but they were just skin and bones, as if half drained. The surrounding passengers' faces changed as they looked at the screen. How terrifying. Were they eaten by bears? Those harmful beasts should be killed. The passengers whispered to each other, while Dad and Mom remained silent.
Could it be that thing that did it to Mom and Dad? Don't say nonsense.
Wang Qiang seemed to hear what I said, and suddenly looked up at me. Chen Jie, say it again. What was it that did this?
Don't listen to Chen Jiexia. He took my past horror stories seriously.
Wang Qiang, who had just lost his parents, was immersed in grief and not thinking much. He showed the photos from the album to everyone again. These were taken just a few hours ago before I left. My parents were perfectly fine then. How could they suddenly be gone? In the photo, his parents were waving, presumably saying goodbye to Wang Qiang. Just then, someone suddenly pointed at the photo and shouted, "Look at this! What is it?" We all looked towards the corner of the photo at Dad's words and saw a blurry figure captured. It was stretching its long arms and seemed to be waving at the camera, and the photo froze at that moment.
What is this thing?
Is it a bear? At this moment, someone retorted. This thing is definitely not a bear. It's winter now, and bears hibernate, so how could they come out? Besides, this thing's arms are longer than its legs, and bears don't have such long arms. So what is this? The surrounding passengers fell silent, because no one could provide an answer. My mom and dad exchanged a glance, and my mom wanted to. Dad tugged Mom's hand, hinting at her not to speak. In the end, my parents didn't say a word about that thing. They comforted Wang Qiang a bit, then took me to the corner of the carriage.
Dad, Mom, why don't you tell Wang Qiang?
Dad ignored me, and just said to Mom,
We can't reveal this. Wang Qiang just left, and he still carries his parents' aura. That thing drained them, and it might be focused entirely on Wang Qiang.
But Wang Qiang is innocent.
But the lives of our family of 3 are more important. We can only apologize to Wang Qiang.
Mom listened to Dad in silence. I didn't quite understand what they were talking about, and I didn't dare to ask about that thing. Time quickly reached 9 o'clock, and still nothing happened. Only then did my parents slightly relax their tense nerves.
That thing indeed relies on smell to find people. With so many people inside the train, it can't find us, and probably can't find Wang Qiang either, so it doesn't dare to act rashly.
But as soon as Dad stopped speaking, there was a muffled sound from the roof of the car, as if something heavy had hit it, followed by footsteps. The thing that landed on the car roof can walk.
Dad, is he here? Keep it down. Don't let him hear us. This thing is really strange. We changed carriages and he can still find us.
At this moment, the passengers in the train car also began to panic. Could it be some wild animal?
Be careful not to get captured alive.
The man inside made no sound. As time passed second by second, everyone gradually noticed something unusual. The man's body was getting flatter. Finally, he collapsed limply to the ground, completely drained. The passengers were shocked, and someone immediately went to the front to call the city police. When the city police saw the husk on the ground, they immediately realized the seriousness and urgently asked those around for the sequence of events. After listening, the city police reassured the passengers and then drew their gun, saying, "Don't be afraid, everyone. It's probably a beast on the train. Remember, don't go near the window. We'll handle the rest." One of the city police officers opened the window and stuck the gun out. With a few gunshots, there was no more noise from the roof.
Did he run away? I'm not sure. But for now, don't act rashly.
After a few more minutes, there was still no movement of the carriage, and everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. Just to be safe, a city police officer stood guard in the carriage with a gun.
Dad has a gun, so we shouldn't be afraid of that thing, right? You haven't seen that thing. You don't understand its power. As far as I know, a handgun can't hurt it. I guess the reason it left is possibly that there were too many people, so it couldn't make a move. And a very important point, that thing can bewitch people's minds, so be extra careful.
At that moment, I seemed to sense something, and unconsciously glanced out the window. But in the next second, my heart stopped abruptly, as a pair of huge eyes were staring fixedly at me. Those eyes were as large as the opening of a bowl, and glowed with an eerie yellow light. In an instant, they disappeared into the vast darkness. I was so frightened I lost my voice, and my whole body couldn't stop trembling.
What's wrong, son? Dad, I saw that thing's face. What did you say?
He instinctively looked out the window, but saw nothing. Another hour passed, and there was no movement outside.
Mom, stop touching it and go to sleep.
Mom's face changed dramatically upon hearing this.
Son, I didn't touch you.
I was jolted awake by his answer, completely losing any trace of sleepiness. Just then, a
I'm
loud
sorry.
noise suddenly came from the other side of the carriage. A huge rock rolled down from the mountain, smashing a big hole in the carriage,
Welcome
followed
to
by a
Current
long
Affairs
hairy arm.
News.
Grabbed the
Goodbye.
passenger and pulled them out. This time, everyone saw the figure of that thing. The train police quickly arrived.
There's nothing there. Are you imagining things? Everyone, don't panic. It's probably just a wild animal from the mountains. It wasn't an animal. Someone has already been taken. We all saw it. Who's missing? Don't spread rumors. It's just a big rock that made a hole in the carriage. Dad's expression was serious at this moment.
This thing is really terrifying. Knowing the cabin is sturdy, he went up the mountain to push rocks to crush it. So, it was him who pushed the rocks down. That's right, his target is most likely us. What should we do now? We can only wait and see. That thing won't give up easily, so we need to be extra cautious.
Why don't we escape? Staying here will definitely cost us our lives. Everyone agreed, and at this moment, Wang Qiang also came to us. Uncle and aunt, let's hurry and escape.
We still feel that the car is safer. If you want to go out, just go by yourself.
Wang Qiang listened and said nothing more, turned around and followed the others out. Watching Wang Qiang's back, I felt something was off, as if a memory suddenly emerged in my mind.
Dad, something doesn't seem right. I remember Wang Qiang died a few years ago.
Dad and Mom both looked stunned, staying frozen there.
I remember a few years ago, you even took me to a banquet. How is this possible? Did you remember incorrectly? Isn't Wang Qiang alive and well?
I touched my head, also puzzled. Could it really be that I remembered wrong? They didn't pay attention to me, instead just quietly looking out the window.
It's early morning and pitch dark outside. Going out under these circumstances is clearly an irrational act. Why do they still refuse to heed the advice?
We are doomed. Someone must have been bewitched by that thing. If they all go out, then won't there only be us left in the carriage?